This is the Payday, a monthly recap that I have dreamed of for years. As of October, the credit card payment line in my budget is officially gone. So in this special combined video, I'm showing you what my money plan actually looks like without it. I'm recapping the final numbers for October and starting on my November budget around this brand new financial reality. Let's dive in. And if you're new to my channel, my name is Rachel. I live in the Tampa Bay area. I rent this lovely apartment. I am a mom to two wonderful daughters, and they are grown and gone and doing their own thing, so I'm an empty nester now. But I am a dog mom, so technically, am I really an empty nester? I love being a dog mom, and I love sharing Scout on my channel. I also am a corporate employee. I earn $70,000 a year, paid off my car in 2023, paid off my credit cards in 2025, and the only debt that I'm left with now is my student loan debt, and currently I have a balance of about $84,000. I've got my laptop here, and we're gonna go over all the final numbers for October, and we're gonna work on my November budget. Before we dive into all of the numbers, if you are looking to start on your budgeting or debt payoff journey or savings journey, I have the special spreadsheet for you. I have an entire workbook that is linked down in the description below where you can budget your paychecks, track all of your expenses. You can also track your debts for the next 12 months and track your high yield savings account, which all of us should have at least a high yield savings account. So if you are interested in grabbing this template, it is only $5, and I do have it linked below in the description of this video. Alrighty, let's dive in. Every single month, I like to create this pie chart right here that shows you exactly how much of my net take-home pay went to each one of my expense categories. So let's dive in. Disclaimer, my credit card debt payment and the paycheck that I use to pay off my credit cards is not on this chart. But let's dive into the chart. I take home every paycheck now that I contribute 5% to my 401k, $200 every paycheck to my Roth IRA, and taxes. I am bringing home $1,909.47. So two of those paychecks right there is what I'm using as my net take home basis for this chart. So groceries is 7.94% of my net take home. Gas is 4.3%. Scout, including her food and all of her medicine, is 5.33%. Eating out is 1.77%. Auto, that was my breaks that I got this month, is 10.65% of my net take home. Rent is 43.97% of my net take home. My subscriptions, which include my Stand store where you can buy my budgeting template, Hulu, Apple storage. I did have Apple Music for about a month, and then I was like, I need to cut all the subscriptions. And I forgot about Pandora, so I downloaded Pandora instead. It doesn't have the greatest selection and stuff, or maybe I just don't know how to search on there or whatever. So give me all your Pandora pro tips in the comments, because I used to use Pandora all the time before Apple Music came around and before Spotify was really a thing. So subscription is 1.18% of my net take home. My phone, which includes my phone bill itself for my phone plan, and then the phone itself, because I did an interest-free 24-month payment plan with a firm to buy the new iPhone 16 Pro that I'm on. So both of those combined is, where am I at? 1.82% of my net take home. My insurance is 3.11% of my net take home. Electric is 2.78% of my net take home. Parking, which technically I could include in my fun money because I'm using it to do fun things around town and you just have to pay for parking, unfortunately. But it is 0.5%, 0.57%. And SunPass, which if you do not live in Florida, it is the road tolls. So that is 0.37% of my net take home went to paying my SunPass bill for the month. Let's break down the numbers now, because someone suggested that I do a little comparison of what I budgeted versus what I spent. And I used to do that back in the day, and then I felt like the videos just were getting too long. Maybe I was just yapping too much or whatever. So I'm trying to make the videos like shorter and more concise. Groceries, I budgeted for the month, I budgeted $380 and I spent $303.40. Gas, I budgeted $200 and I spent $153.77. For Scout, I budgeted $165.27 and I ended up spending $203.58. And that is because I forgot that, well, one, I didn't budget the $7 or almost $8 for her ear cleaning solution. So that's one of them. Two, she needs to get her, every 3 months, we get a prescription for her heartworm and flea and tick pill. And I forgot to budget for that. It just kind of popped up out of nowhere that we needed it. I kind of forgot about it. So it's totally my bad. I did budget $140 for the entire month for fun money. That was $40 as normal, like I do on my payday budgeting. But then when my family came in town for this last payday, I budgeted $100 because I thought we were going to be eating out a lot more. My parents did cover my aquarium pass, and we went out to eat once. Well, my daughter went out to eat with them more because I only took Friday off. So, and then Saturday from Target off. So I only ate out with them once, and they paid for my meal on that. So thank you, Mommy and Daddy, if you're watching this video, because sometimes they do watch my content. So I only spent $67.62. So that is so good. I budgeted $600 to go towards my student loans, but I also knew that I needed to get stuff done to my car. So I figured whatever money I had left over from spending money on my oil change, and I did not. I mean, I guess I kind of knew I needed new brakes. They were squealing, so I didn't really know what was wrong with them because I'm just a girl, and I know when people hate when I say that, but I'm just a lady. I don't really know anything about cars, and I don't really care about cars. I'm just happy that I have a nice whip to get me to work in the places that I want and need to be. And I do have a little bit of a slight change because I know I only spent $406.57 of that $600, but I have a little change up because instead of putting all of the extra money onto my student loans at once, I figured out how much my student loans are calculating interest, or like accruing interest daily, and every 7 days, like every Friday, I'm going to put $84.56. That's how much interest is accruing every 7 days on my student loans. So instead of just putting the $200 whatever dollars on my student loans all at once, I'm just going to kind of break that up a little bit, have a nice little nest egg in my checking account to help cover any shortage that I usually end up having for the first of the month, and any of the $84.56 for a few weeks until we need to possibly figure out something else. I don't know. As long as we're frugal, that money should stretch longer. That's in my checking account. So I think we're going to be fine. Rent, I budgeted $1,651.05. And really that's just like what I paid the month before. But because my water is lumped up into this, and pest control and trash, and the Wi-Fi and cable that they make me get, and I don't know what else is built up here, but water mainly, so that kind of fluctuates. So I only budgeted what I spent the prior month, which was $1,651.05, but I ended up putting in for my rent $1,679.10. Subscriptions is $45.09. I budgeted for that, and I spent that. Phone, I budgeted, and that both of my things combined. My $25 plus my $44.84 or something, or 54 cents. Where am I at? 84 cents for my phone plan or something. So I spent $69.54. Insurance, I budgeted $118.95 and I spent $118.95. For electric, I budgeted $106.15 and I spent $106.15. Parking, like I said, I could lump that in with my fund money and I still would have an overage. But parking, I didn't technically budget a line item for parking, which I guess I could every month because I do go downtown St. Pete a lot on the weekends. And I spent $21.90. SunPass, I budgeted $10.62. That's just what my balance was when I looked at it when I did the budget, but then I forgot to make the payment. So then I went a few more times through the tolls. So I ended up paying for it yesterday and I spent $14.10. And then we can go over my debt tracker one last time, because we need to figure out another one for our student loans or what I'm doing with that. But this was for my credit cards. And as you can see, by just putting my extra paycheck that I earned for October plus the money that I earned for that payday from Target, I was able to pay off my credit card, my final credit card. And that left me with 8 months. I shaved 8 months off of that debt payment journey. I am so proud of myself, and it's so much freeing to not have the credit card debt. And even though I do have a lot of student loan debt, I feel so much more like the weight has lifted. And probably because I also have like this whole grand plan with my student loans, which I'm going to give you guys a student loan dedicated video that will be dropping shortly after I make my final October payment. I need for that to process so I can see the numbers and everything. So I will be making a dedicated student loan video that will go up sometime in the first week of November, I'm thinking, depending on my work schedule with Target, because it is extremely hard to do all of the posting and content that I'm doing on top of my full-time job and a part-time job. But I'm dedicated and I have so much fun doing the posting, so that's why I like to keep up and try to stay as consistent as possible. Moving on to my savings tracker, which is womp womp womp, because I didn't want to pull any money out of here, but I looked over how much interest I had, like at the beginning of the student loan debt payment journey thing that we've been on for the last, well, only this month, honestly. I looked at how much back interest I had, $22,000, and I know at some point they will capitalize that whenever this deferment period is over, which this deferment period is over whenever they decide to make a decision on whether they're going to forgive any of my University of Phoenix debt or not. So until they make that decision, I am in this deferment and my interest will not be capitalized. But whenever I am out of this deferment, then it will be. And I thought to myself, you know what? I can stand to pull out about half of what I have in my high yield savings account, make it through this next however long, grind as hard as I can to get where I want to be on my student loans, and then start building back my high yield savings account, my Roth IRA, my 401k, do all of the things. So for now, we do have, we pulled out $5,500, and so our balance is $5,456.59. I'm projecting to get about half of the interest that I earned the last month, which was $35.97. Plus my interest rate, my APR went from like 4.5 to 4 or something like that. It went to about 4%. So on top of having half of what I had in there, my interest dropped. So I'm projecting about $15 in interest. So that will land me about $5,471.59 ending balance on my high yield savings account, which I'm still happy to have a little bit of money in there. Yes, it will probably not get me through anything if I were to get laid off, which, knock on wood, we're going to hope for no layoffs. We are very busy at work and we run a very tight, small operation. I feel like they don't overhire, which I feel like is very nice because they are being conservative with their hiring, and that way they can prevent any layoffs, which I love because I've gotten laid off twice in my adult life, so I don't really like that. I also wanted to recap my Roth IRA and my 401k. So last month, I just started putting this in my budgeting template. So I'm just taking a screenshot. I'm sure there's like a whole chart thing that I can build into here so that way I can track both of these. But for now, I don't know all of that. So I'm just taking and putting screenshots in here. And I am recording this right before I get my last paycheck for October. So there will be one more paycheck that does go into my Roth IRA and my 401k, but I like to give myself a few days to budget, especially now that I'm working 2 jobs. So there is an extra paycheck that I get on the last day of the month that is not included. So my Roth IRA balance ending in September was $1,006.96. And now my Roth IRA ending in October minus the one paycheck is $1,432.92. That's so exciting, and it's actually going to be closer to about $1,600 once I put that other $200. And then my 401k ending balance in September was $1,409.70, and my ending balance minus the one paycheck in October is $1,717.21. That is incredible. I know it's just such a small change to everyone watching this video, but that's such a large jump for me, and I'm just so excited about the future. And obviously I'm going to start contributing more to my Roth IRA and my 401k once I get my credit cards where I want them to be, but we will chat all about that in my little brain dump video on my dedicated video to my student loans. So now I'm going to make an entire chapter here. So if you want to skip forward to the November budget, we're going to start budgeting for November. This last paycheck for October needs to go for the first half of November. And we have a little bit of changes because this looks so much better than it used to. So like I said, after my 401k, after my taxes, and after my $200 that I put into my Roth IRA, every time I get paid, I am bringing home to budget with $1,909.47. And my cell phone bill for my actual cell phone plan is $25. Groceries, I cut it down from $240 every payday, which was $120 a week, to $140, which is about $70 a week. And then gas is $100. I'm keeping that as is. Rent is just what I paid last month, $1,679.10. That's what I'm budgeting for. My Hulu subscription, we're going to have to look at that on Black Friday again. That's coming up soon. $1.12 for Hulu. My Apple storage is $1.99. And then I'm budgeting $40 for fun money. That is $20 a week. And so now my total expenses is $1,987.21, which puts me at a negative between my paycheck and my total expenses of $77.74, which is so much better because if we look back to September, then we had an overhang of we had a deficit of $208.73 for the first paycheck of the month. And then if we look back to October, we had a deficit of $229.74. And so now that, one, I cut my grocery budget down, and two, Scouts, because of the third paycheck thing, Scouts food and stuff is not due to be pre-ordered or ordered again. I have it on like a auto ship. It's not to be ordered until this next payday. So I'm not going to budget it in with this. It will go in the second half of the month for now until I think we get a third paycheck in October. So things might shift again then. But for now, it should be the second half of the month, depending on when my paychecks fall. So yeah, that is everything for the budget and for the monthly recap. And I'm just so excited about the future, y'all. What a month. We close out October with one massive victory. That credit card debt is finally gone. I am so unbelievably proud of myself. Alrighty, I love y'all, and I will see y'all in the next video.